Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's special selection comes at us from Terranekla. It's the theme of Koishi Komeji, the extra stage boss of the 11th Touhou game, Subterranean Animism. So that's what we're going to be checking out today. I'm always interested in checking out anything from Touhou, especially the original works. The covers are an interesting beast all on their own, but I always like listening to ZUN's original works. I think he does a great job of injecting theme into his music while keeping it video gamey, both in sound and structure. So let's dive in and see what he's doing with this track. The bass kick off to the left is an interesting choice. In fact, all the drum works off to the left. There's a figure eightness to it. Swirling ascent to swirling descent. We're in 7 as well. Just little ornamental ideas in that last section all over the place. So our snare center, our bass kick has been pushed to the right though. The drumming placement's very strange. This is a nice bit of brightness against the darkness elsewhere. The melody, and I think the synth pad as well. Yeah, even that rise right there, it reminds me of a lot of the work that goes into Kirby soundtracks. I don't know who composed most of the older ones. It's interesting too, I think this is the first track that we've listened to from ZUN that hasn't had trumpet in it. It's something I always expect from him, is those MIDI trumpets. Got that swirling sound off on the right again. It's high energy, there's a franticness thanks to the 16th notes on the piano, but also the drum pattern in that last section. Yeah, even this right here. The punk beat coming in and give way to this. Yeah, I think we hit our loop in the middle of the track already. Yeah, we're heading towards the end of the song as it goes here. A gorgeous section. It's uplifting, but it's sparkly. That's what gets it for me. It's like clearly seeing a sky full of stars at night and laying next to a water fountain in the middle of a park. while playing flashlight tag. I think we've had this discussion before, but I can't remember. I should probably just go back and read comments on some of the other Touhou tracks we've done. But when does the music change during these boss fights in Touhou? Is it just like this, where it just plays, the first section, then the second section, the first section, the second section, or do they continue to loop each section for like a specific attack phase, right? And after you get the boss's health down, like a 1/4%, they move into phase two. That's when the next track comes in. So that because Touhou's a bullet hell, and the cool thing about bullet hells is that it's beautiful. There's like 500 energy balls on the screen that you got to dodge, and they create patterns, and it's just so gorgeous. It's mesmerizing to look at. But like some of the patterns could represent things that line up with the music, and like I don't remember how the music goes. I probably should one of these days just play a Touhou game so I don't have to rely on remembering what people tell me, and I can just use my own experience with it. One of these days. Y'all will get me there one day. Anyways, I bring all this up about theming the music to specific parts of the battle, particularly because the song exists in two modes for me. There is a manic tension to the first half. You have those punky bass kicks. It has those quick back-to-back bass kicks right before your emphasized snare hit. That just creates a lot of forward momentum, of feeling like you're leaning forward, like you're going to trip. You have to move your foot or you're going to fall. You have to catch yourself and take that step. And once you have that momentum rolling, you're just going to keep moving. You don't have any opportunity to stop. You're just walking forward now. Against your will, it seems like. The music just pushes you forward. It says, we're going forward, let's go. But there's all this darkness around it as well. There's these ornamental lines everywhere. Little beep beep beep, like little sounds all over the place. Just it's like a ping pong effect. I can't ever quite see them. By the time that the sound has happened, comes into my brain, I've registered it's a sound, and I go to listen to it, it's gone, and the next sound has popped up somewhere else. It is manic. There's also the darkness all throughout. It's just a very tense area. It doesn't quite feel dreadful, but it does feel panic inducing. It is raw tension throughout a lot of it, with a hint of some sort of danger on the periphery. There is a darkness, there is something on the outside of the song, but for the most part, it's just this panicked tension. Like you've forgotten something, but you're late, but you really need it, and you're not sure if you've actually forgotten something. You just have this feeling in your gut that if you leave the house right now, you're gonna have to come back like 2 streets down when you remember what it is, but you really should be leaving now because you're going to be late for whatever your engagement is. That's what the opening of this song feels like. It is being torn between two sides and being put in such a state that you can't think clearly because of it. But the other side of this is so different. I described it as stars in the sky on a clear night, no light pollution, just You can see them all so clearly playing flashlight tag, and a nice centerpiece to the park, a concrete water fountain. It's very peaceful and beautiful, but it's not relaxed. It still has the energy, it still has the momentum. We still have this 16th note piano line in here, much like our first section. In fact, this sort of feels like an inversion of it. Maybe less inversion and more mirror. If one side is the tense panic, we go through the mirror and we can find bright elation. It still features that same speed. It still features a lot of the same layering. It has all the same timbre to it. And the way that it's layered up, where different instruments fit and how it all is interlocked with each other, all the different parts, it's very similar. We still have a driving drum idea. We still have a piano playing quick 16th notes. They're just not swirling in darkness anymore. It's more of like an energy, a positive energy. And it basically finds this, like I said, mirror universe of the first section, utilizing many of the same techniques and elements of the first with a totally different harmonic palette, this one just being brighter. And it's cozy. Cozy is the wrong word for it. It's comfortable, preferable maybe even than that dark panic. But it also has a tension to it. There's still a rush, there's still a speed, a momentum, a direction. It's not chill and laid back. It is not the inverse, the opposite of where we were. It's just a more positive spin on it. It's a really interesting set of ideas to oscillate between. And I think if it weren't for so many similarities on the layering structure and rhythmic concepts, it would feel quite disparate, but it doesn't. It shares enough compositional ideas to feel like an adaptation of our first part, and it makes the song feel cohesive. One thing I really like, and it adds so much character to the first section, there's this piano part off on the right, and it swirls up for a little bit and then swirls down, and it's just this ascending and descending pattern. But I don't think it was just like linear rising in pitch, lowering in pitch. It's like rise a little, fall a little, rise a little, fall a little. It just felt swirly. That adds so much tension and character to the section. Plus it's the 16th note line that we end up seeing mirrored in the other section, that is a bit more straightforward in its growth and fall and has a positive harmonic spin to it. And so it just feels like good energy rather than this tension panic energy that they have here. And it's really interesting to see, just you change a couple of notes here and there, you change your ascending and descending pattern, and you get a totally different feel out of it. It's really genius. There is a strong sense of duality in this track, and I kind of wish I had a couple more listens to it. Actually, more accurately, I kind of wish that I stopped the song every few bars to talk about it like most reactors do. But I would never do that on a first time listen. So I guess like a second time listen where I was okay with pausing it. I wonder if I should change my format to that, because sometimes like this track, I think we could benefit from it to really look at some of these ideas and how they parallel each other. Off the top of my head though, I'd have to go and search for them, and yeah, it's easier just to like as we listen to it pause and be like, yeah, this was it. But yeah, there's so many really neat parallels here. Here's one thing though. I'm curious how other people think about this. What's your take on the production here? There's something very peculiar going on. Many of the instruments are very clear. And this isn't an official channel, so it could be that this isn't a great version of this song as far as file quality. It could be compressed and all sorts of garbage. But in particular, the drums are odd in every sense. At the very beginning of the song, every part of the drum kit is pushed to the left. The kick, the hi-hat. Towards the end of our section, before we head into the brighter part, our snare is center and our kicks are right. One of the cymbals was left though, and it felt like it moved around. It got jumbled around. Very interesting. Just that in and of itself, but also the production on it is quiet, it's dulled, it's muted. The bass kick, which to me drives everything, is really pulled under the mix. It's hard to hear if you're not expressly listening for it. Otherwise, it's just this semi-rhythmic element that I think you'll pick up subconsciously, but honestly won't remember after your first listen. And I've been thinking about this whole time. Why? What is the point of it? And I've not landed on an answer. There might be some cool thematic reason for it. Like I mentioned, ZUN does a fantastic job with theming. Really putting his characters' personalities, mindsets, goals into the music. And maybe there's a purpose for this motivating drive to be buried underneath the surface. I don't know. It's a very bizarre choice, though, and it feels like it has to be intentional, especially this late in the game. If we were talking about, one of his first couple of OSTs, yeah, that's novice mistakes. But the 11th game in, no, he's got experience now. This is not a mistake. And so I'm kind of curious what it all means. There's no lyrics to this, but I was given a Wikipedia page for this boss. I'm going to go look at some stuff there. Maybe there's a plot detail, maybe there's a characterization. We'll see if I can't tie anything of what I felt in this song to that. So this is actually a bit of an interesting character. I feel like this is a very condensed form of things on the Touhou Wiki, but for the most part, she is a playful and free-spirited character, likening her to a child, but she basically can only be seen when she wants to be seen, and as soon as you don't see her, you completely forget about her. And so there is that duality there. I've been trying to pair this against the musical themes. I've come up with something, but I want to touch on it in a second after we explore one more thing. She also has the power to read minds. But stated at one point in time, reading people's minds is depressing. There's nothing good about it. And so close that side off of her, which is what left her to only be able to be seen when you're directly looking at her. And if you look away, you're going to forget about her presence. You're going to actually technically forget her entirely. There is no remembering her. It says at one point that she sort of becomes an imaginary friend to kids since her ability that renders people unable to remember her doesn't quite work on them since their minds are still developing. And she becomes an imaginary friend to kids that they will forget about her once they grow up. I imagine that this is an interesting yet lonely life to live. You can't make connections with people ever. There is probably a joy when you enter someone's vision and they can see you. There's probably an elation to that, but also an urgency to stay in this moment. Because the moment they look away, you're forgotten. That darkness overcomes you and you're alone again. I don't know if that's particularly what the music is supposed to be going for. But that is one way that I can see this duality, this constant urgency, tension versus relief present in her backstory and her characterization. I feel like I've seen Touhou games get played a little bit, and they look like fun bullet hell games. I could probably get into them if I had more time to put towards learning boss patterns and stuff. But the game is very bright and colorful and cutesy, very anime. And then, like, every time I read about a character, I'm like, this is some depressing stuff. Why? Why is it every time it has to do this to me? Those are my thoughts on ZUN's. I don't think I know the name of this song. Hartmann no Youkai Shoujo? Let me know your thoughts on it, though. Did you enjoy it? Do you want more Touhou tracks on the channel? We get about 1 to 2 a year. Those sound like rookie numbers, though. You might want to help me bump those up. If you got your own interpretation on things, you want to throw any of that in the comments, let me know. Above the comment section, above the comment section in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, the schedule for the channel, all sorts of stuff. Go ahead and check it out. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC as usual. We're going to continue on with some sludge metal this week and check out another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.